Browns 17-10 losers here on a Saturday game, Christmas Eve at FirstEnergy Stadium, and the most important thing here is their playoff hopes are officially over. The loss eliminates them from any chance, it was small to begin with, but from any chance of making the playoffs. Mary Kay, when you look at this game, what was your big takeaway?
You know, I think my big takeaway was the fact that they really tried to force the issue with the pass, and it just wasn't there on a day like today with these fierce winds and with these temperatures. Deshaun was off on a number of his throws, understandably, and when he did hit the mark, receivers were dropping it because it probably felt like a brick. I mean, it just wasn't the day where the passing game was going to work efficiently for you, and it didn't.
Yeah, Ashley, I thought it was interesting that the Browns, I mean, look, everybody knows they have Nick Chubb, they have Kareem Hunt, but they did decide to throw the ball a lot. And we saw a lot that were wobbling and a lot that, I mean, Deshaun was having trouble throwing the ball in this one, not because of him, but just because it was almost impossible to throw the ball.
Yeah, and I do wonder if this was the Browns, like, trying to be tricky a little bit and almost put together, like, a Mike McDaniel style game plan, right? Like Mike McDaniel does these things a lot, and he did it against the Browns where the Dolphins do things other teams aren't expecting. So I think the Browns, given their rushing attack, given the weather, they knew, hey, they're probably going to expect us to run the ball, rely on our run game, and they just really decided to try to force the issue the other way a little bit. And I think with mixed results, right? We did see Deshaun Watson complete some throws, but at the end of the game when they needed it, it just wasn't enough.
Now, Mary Kay, let's talk a little bit about Deshaun Watson. He did have his struggles today, but he also made some really nice throws to Amari Cooper. And those two throws at the end of the game, the one that Donovan Peoples-Jones couldn't haul in the back left of the end zone, and the one that David Njoku dropped at the front of the end zone, those were really good throws. So again, I think we saw progress from Deshaun even today.
Yeah, absolutely. There was progress. Again, in these conditions, it was difficult for anyone. Amari Cooper's drop touchdown pass in the back of the end zone was because he slipped on the snowy grass. And then the other two guys, not really exactly sure what happened because DPJs hit him in the hands, and David, as he said, just dropped it. Then also you had David Bell. One went off of his hands, and it was picked off. And the Saints went on to score a touchdown after that. So it was a day when the receivers really didn't give Deshaun the help that he needed.
Yeah, if you're looking for positives, though, Ashley, I think Deshaun Watson is still one of them from today's game.
Yeah, Dan, there was that one drive. I know you tweeted something to the effect that long drive where they ate up a ton of time in the second quarter. They ended up getting a touchdown on that one. Deshaun Watson's, I think it was a 12-yard run there. That was, I think, maybe, like, arguably at that point, we said if they won that game, that might be the best drive so far that we've seen from Deshaun Watson and Kevin Stefanski. And they really just, I think, did what they do best on that drive. So there were certainly some moments. And I think, I'm kind of surprised, like, we got a step forward from Deshaun Watson. Given the weather, we didn't know what to expect with him, but it seemed like for times there it wasn't really bothering him.
Okay, real quick before we wrap up, Mary Kay, what are you watching over these last two games? What do you want to see?
Well, I think more so than anything, they need to evaluate some guys for the future and see if they can get some young guys out there. I think some of the younger receivers like David Bell, like Michael Woods, they need to get some reps, maybe even a little bit more Dalen Baldwin, Jerome Ford, maybe they could see some things that he can do on the defensive side of the ball. Same thing. So now it's time to sort of think about the future.
Ashley, same question.
Yeah, I guess it's basically that, right? Like there's so many questions, I think, with this offense and Deshaun Watson in particular. I think the Browns really need to figure out what does Deshaun Watson need to effectively run this offense from personnel-wise and from Kevin Stefanski calling plays in order for them to avoid a repeat of 2022 and 2023.
Okay, Browns losers here on a Saturday, Christmas Eve game at FirstEnergy Stadium, 17-10. Like I said at the top, they are out of the playoffs officially, but still 2 games left. They travel to Washington next week. We'll cover all of it at cleveland.com/Browns.